Hello everyone, Blackberry here. Going to talk about why I'm kind of taking a step away from the competitive Mortal Kombat scene for the foreseeable future. And let me start by saying that I've been playing the game for about a year and I'd say like 4 months, like pretty consistently. I have some breaks here and there, but for the most part it's been grinding the game, streaming 3 to 4 days a week pretty consistently, playing in a crap ton of events, like multiple events every week, tournaments, exhibitions, all that stuff. And it's kind of been a burnout for me. Like I'm pretty burnt out from the game, honestly. And that, in combination with some other things that's been going on recently, has really made me like say I really don't want to really play the game competitively right now. That might change in the future, but for now this is how I'm feeling. But before I did that, before I made the decision to really stop playing, I wanted to place in the top 16, or attempt to place in the top 16 of a tournament called MK series, formerly known as Outworld Television. Pretty big event in the Mortal Kombat scene, and I wanted that to be like the last thing I did for a while, just to say that I did it and I could do it. But in the middle of that series, because it's a series that lasts about like a month, a little bit over a month, and in the middle of that I kind of grew fatigued. Like I wasn't really playing. Besides playing my matches, I would play my matches and that was it, basically. And so we barely fell out of the top 16, and that's what it was. We'll get more into that later though. I've had people recently approach me to play in events and invite me into stuff, and I agreed to play in some of them, but because of the things that have happened most recently, I've decided to just not playing anything serious at the moment, and we'll get into why now. So the controversy that's concerned me as of late stemmed from these two videos that I uploaded recently. One uploaded last week and the other uploaded like a month ago, and it deals with these two particular players, Ava and Hijinks. We'll get into the situation that I feel is a little bit lighter first, and that's Ava. So Ava was one of the first people I met in the competitive Mortal Kombat scene. She was always pretty cool to me, and I'd say she was a decent acquaintance. We played a decent amount in the time that I was learning and playing the game, because I got into Mortal Kombat 11 kind of late. So at that point the community was pretty established and she was willing to play with me, which was cool. But we never actually played in a competitive environment, like a tournament or anything, because the tournaments I played in just about everything, trying to level up. And Ava kind of played in things that are like a little bit more exclusive, I feel like, invitationals and stuff like that. Anyways, around 2 months ago, back in December, this is like right after CEO, we finally met in bracket. And to keep it short, I ended up winning. Keep in mind also, I was also streaming, like this tournament run, I was streaming it. So the set was already recorded. Before I go more into that, let me introduce you guys to a term that is exclusive in the NRS scene called prop fishing. Again, like I said, it's something that only exists in the NRS scene. Doesn't exist in something like Street Fighter or Guilty Gear, any of these other communities. It's literally something that only exists here, and it kind of has a toxic culture behind it. I say that because it's kind of used to protect players' egos, I feel. So let's say, for example, you beat X top player in tournament, a set, an exhibition, doesn't matter. It's a natural response to feel proud of yourself in that situation, because it shows growth in your play or may show consistency if you're already doing well. If the set was not publicly already being broadcasted through a stream, a lot of people will look down on the fact that you posted it publicly. If the player is someone that's already established in the community that has a decent backing, they may even use that negatively towards you. It's very silly, and I promise you from my experience with interacting with many other communities in the FGC, it's a problem that's only in the NRS scene. Unless you're already like an established name where it doesn't matter, you're gonna get backlash for it. But getting back to this. So, like I said, that set that me and Ava had was like 2 months ago in December. Around a week ago, I finally uploaded it and she got really upset. And to me, the way she approached it was the opposite of what I think someone would do. She used her platform on Twitter to make a subtweet towards me. I got a lot of attention and engagement. I had like over 100 likes, you know, a bunch of retweets, a bunch of quote tweets and all that stuff. And then after that, she went on my Twitter where I posted the video. I usually will post videos to let it be known that I had uploaded something. She went on that post and argued with me about it. After that, she went into my DMs, and I'm not going to show the DMs, but basically I'll give you guys the gist of it. She basically said I wasn't being a good friend because I didn't ask to upload the set. So remember what I said about the prop fishing and the toxicity behind it. Like, don't you guys think it's kind of crazy that I need permission to upload a set that I streamed and it's my gameplay, but I need permission to upload to my channel? However, I can almost guarantee that if this was like a more popular individual, like if it was a professional player like Hayate or something, and they posted the set to their YouTube, there'd be no backlash, none whatsoever. I can almost guarantee you. So that's just kind of crazy to me. The result of our interaction in the DMs was her saying that we're never gonna play again, don't ever ask to play me again, and whatever. I just think it's funny because she said a friend doesn't do this. You should ask me because we're friends and it's not something that a friend would do to upload a set like that, right? But let's look at the friendship between me and Ava, quote unquote, right? Ava's never actually interacted with me, or hasn't interacted with me very often unless I engaged first, especially on social media. She's never shared, liked, retweeted any of my stuff, which is completely fine. But combine that with the fact that she's never followed me on Twitch, and she knows I stream because she mentioned it before. She never even tuned into one of my streams. She never even showed up. Didn't sub to me on YouTube. Never promoted my events. I was running events for a little bit, like about like a month or so. Never promoted that. And she never ever even hit me up to just check on me, like just a what's up, how are you doing? That's completely fine. That's not expected. But if you're claiming to be my friend, I'd expect at least one of those boxes to be filled. Or am I crazy to think that? Especially because I supported everything that she did. And people that I don't even think consider me to be their friend or be close like that have at least done one of these things that I just listed. This interaction in general was pretty petty. It made me think more about the content I put on my own channel, which is kind of crazy and just plain manipulative, to be honest. Now let's talk about Hijinks. The situation with Hijinks is honestly the main reason I made this video. For those of you who do not know, I made a tweet right after being eliminated from MKTV, basically stating that outside of future commitments that I've made to organizers to be in their events, that I will not be competing and will just be focusing on making content for Mortal Kombat. Then about a day or so later, I made another tweet after KOF came out saying that it felt good to play a game that felt rewarding to grind and a game where the better player will always win. This is my opinion, but I've always felt that NRS games are more based on your choice of characters rather than being more based on your skills as a player because of how matchup heavy they are. It's why you see some of the best players play either one extremely strong character or have a lot of pocket characters that are in the meta for counter picks, which is a skill in itself, but it isn't what I'm currently in the mood for to play competitively. Days later, I get a flood of DMs from Hijinks unexpectedly at like 1 or 2 in the morning about these tweets. These DMs I will actually show you guys because this situation is straight up harassment. Keep in mind, at this point, I haven't actually done anything to this dude to warrant this. So he brings up 2 tweets that I made, one of which I've deleted since this conversation because I felt I may have upset people and didn't want to do that. But he comes to me and says, "Do you know how corny this looks?" with the original tweet that I had deleted. And then he brings up the other tweet and says this too. He says, like, what are you implying exactly? You literally didn't make Outworld top 16 because you lost like 4 sets in the end. Then you say you're basically quitting the game with that Outworld tweet. Then you played in this tourney, got bodied with Sindel, went Jackie, and took a game off of quote-unquote M2S Blackout. And now the game doesn't reward players for quote-unquote fundamentals and quote-unquote the better player always wins. There's a reason top players are top players, and you don't see randoms beating a set of 8 to 10 players ever. Top 8 is always the same, minus 1 to 2 people, so stop the cap with the MK11 shade. People did this when Strive came out, and all of them hopped back on MK11. King of Fighters won't be different. It's like MK11 copium. So I responded by saying that I wasn't feeling the game before playing in Outworld and only played my matches, and that was it. So I'm not even surprised I didn't make top 16. And I'm not going to back out of tournaments I was invited to, even though I don't want to play, because that's kind of a shitty thing to do. At the end of the day, though, why do you care about my opinion on the game? LOL. So then he says, so you just don't play MK11 anymore? LOL. I say I don't play it seriously, only for content purposes. Then he says, it's not about your opinion, it's about the MK11 copium, new fighting game, KOF, better than MK11, looking pretty immature. I say okay, LOL, because I don't even know how to respond to that. And he says, is it not? Tell me I'm wrong. About copium? Question mark. Yes, you have Queen Shan's tournament tomorrow too, like question mark question mark. MK11 scrubby, doesn't reward the better player, hypothetically. I said, it's not copium, I know exactly what it is with that game, and I'm not in the mood to play it at this point. That's just how I feel. I'm not trying to stop you from enjoying the game. That's all I said, and that was the conversation. When I initially read these DMs, I was very confused, and I wasn't really sure what his angle was. Hijinks and I had no problems at this point, and were generally pretty chill with each other, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt and responded to him in the calmest and nicest way I could given the situation. Looking back though, as you can see, this guy was for some reason very hurt in my tweets, like they were a personal shot at him, which they weren't, or anybody else. He ends up not only taking a personal shot at some of my recent placements, but also randomly indirectly throw shots at another player, because how do you lose to quote-unquote M2S Blackout, right? He must just be the worst player in the world according to this guy. The situation is extra weird though, because Hijinks doesn't even follow me, so to DM me and bash me about tweets that I had made a week prior to him even messaging me is super weird and uncomfortable. As stated earlier, I said I'd really only be playing in events that I made a commitment to. So fast forward to Vera's top 16 bracket. I was contacted and asked to participate in this event about a month prior to it happening, so I wasn't just going to cancel on her. I appreciate Vera and all the other organizers in the scene, so I wouldn't really screw them over in this way. Anyways, this was a special event where you had to play top tier while you were in winner's bracket and bottom tier while you were in loser's bracket. With rules like this, the tournament is mainly for entertainment purposes, since most players won't actually be able to play their main, me included. Of course, in this event I had to play Hijinks first round, and with him being a Jackie player, he of course has access to his character while I don't. The entire of this match was extremely toxic, with him teabagging me, harassing me in the chat, the whole 9 yards. Keep in mind, I've said nothing negative towards this person at this point, and he just felt some type of way about my tweet and I guess my upload of him, since he references it randomly in the chat. This goes back to the whole toxicity of the prop fish culture, by the way. So basically after that, and him kicking me while I was down in the chat, referencing recent results I've had, which weren't very good since, again, I literally haven't been practicing the game, I basically felt that I was just done competing in the game. And it's unfortunate too, because I had 2 people since then approach me to ask for me to play in an event for them. And I had to turn those opportunities down. I usually wouldn't do that even if I wasn't practiced, because normally I wouldn't care if I lost or won in those situations. However, because of how toxic individuals have been towards me lately, I just don't think it's worth the headache. Those are my reasons why I'm just focusing on playing for fun and making content. I know this makes it seem like the entire community is toxic, but it really isn't. There are plenty of people that are welcoming and accepting of everyone. So shout out to Vera, Viz, Hot Rod, the Shira Ryu Sunday crew, Polos, Baby, Vanity, and all the friends I've made in the scene. You know who you are. I'm sorry if this makes anyone think of me differently, but I had to put this out there because these situations have honestly been kind of ridiculous and mentally draining. I've had a lot of anxiety since then, so making and posting this video took a lot for me to do. I haven't even felt comfortable communicating in Twitch chats too consistently, especially when either of these 2 individuals are involved, more so Hijinks though. Anyways, we'll be back to regular uploads after this. Until next time.